I used to think that if I was kind enough, devoted enough, selfless enough, then family would protect me. But standing before the oak door of the lake house I once called home, everything I believed in began to crack like porcelain in the Chicago March cold. I am Sabrina Hale, 39, an investment advisor. And for more than 15 years, I have lived as a shield for my family, for my Aunt Clara, who adopted me after my parents died in an accident, and for my cousin Tessa, whom I lulled to sleep with fairy tales and, later, with tuition and entrepreneurial dreams. I was the one who paid for her hospital bills when she broke her hip. The one who sponsored Tessa's first student loan. The one who bought her first computer, and the one who designed the financial model that I thought only I knew. I called it love. But maybe, it was willful blindness. My 39th birthday party was supposed to be a cozy evening, with a cake I'd ordered that read, Sabrina, our light. But as I walked into the living room, my eyes fell on another cake, and the name, Tessa Incorporated, was written in bright white icing on a bright red background. My cake was gone. And I knew, something irreversible had begun. I stood motionless in front of the cake for a few seconds, my mind blank as if someone had flipped a pause switch inside me. Don't you like surprises? Tessa grinned, standing behind me, her eyes sparkling as if she'd just handed me a present. Aunt Clara patted my shoulder, her gaze hazy as if unaware of the storm brewing just beneath my skin. Tessa ordered the cake, she whispered. She said she was always humble about everything she did for this family. She wanted to honor her in her own way. Something in her voice made me take a half step back. I had written a business plan for an edtech startup. A hybrid of AI and financial advisors for underprivileged college students. I had never published it, only shared the first draft with Aunt Clara last spring to ask for her opinion on an investment loan. I swallowed. Tessa Incorporated was no joke. It was the name of a new startup that was getting a lot of media attention, with the exact same strategy and roadmap as the one I'd been working on for 3 years. After the party, I didn't leave the house right away. I excused myself to wash my hands and walked into my old office. My aunt's laptop was still open. I didn't know what I was looking for until I saw the folder, Funding Models, EdTech 2023. I clicked on it. It was mine. No edits. No renaming. No credit. I stared at the screen, my fingers shaking but my feet rooted to the floor. For a moment, I felt like I was watching someone get betrayed in a movie, except this time, it was me. I turned back to the party, where people were still laughing, still drinking wine, and praising the meaningful cake. Tessa was telling a funny story about her investor pitch, using the words I'd drafted, the strategy I'd written, the delivery I'd practiced in the mirror for months. I said nothing. I didn't make a fuss. I just sat there quietly, my smile suddenly as soft as dew, but inside I was making a long list: who did what, who knew what, and who pretended nothing had happened. Because in that moment, I understood, this wasn't just about a stolen plan. This is about a belief being torn to shreds, piece by piece, by the very people I've sacrificed my career to protect. And I also know, this time, I won't be silent. I left the party as soon as I could, claiming I was tired. No one stopped me. No one noticed I hadn't eaten any cake. And no one asked why my voice, my eyes, my hands were shaking so much. They were too busy with the cake and their new family pride. Back at my apartment in the West Loop, I took off my shoes, left the lights off, and just sat in the dark, my heart growing colder with each tick of the clock. I opened my laptop out of unconscious habit. The first email I found was from my mother, no, from my Aunt Clara, who had once said I was a gift from heaven after my parents died. I dug up an old thread from last spring. The subject line, Sabrina's proposal, let me know what you think. I remember clearly, I sent it with just one attachment, a 47-page strategic plan, written after 3 years of testing. She replied with a short line, "Great, my dear. Let me read it carefully and give you my opinion." But she never gave me any opinion that I clicked on the forwarding history tab. She'd forwarded the email to Tessa within 30 minutes. No message. No BCC. Just one click, and all my work was in someone else's hands. My first feeling wasn't anger. It was quiet humiliation. My trust had been cheap, it turned out. I started downloading everything I'd ever sent out, spreadsheets, financial maps, preliminary copyrights, even sample presentation files. Slowly, the puzzle began to come together. They hadn't just borrowed my ideas, they'd built an entire company on my backbone. I backed up everything. Every email, every edit. I created a folder called Proof, Do Not Touch. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't rage online. I didn't send critical messages or call to question them. I didn't let them know I knew. I needed time. I needed a strategy. The next day, I called my friend Camilla, an intellectual property lawyer. She listened to me in silence, then said softly, "Do you have enough to prove they stole it?" I sent her 3 files. An hour later, she texted back. They didn't just steal it. They were stupid enough to leave a clear trail. If you want to do this, you can win. I didn't reply right away. I looked out the window at the glittering lights of Chicago at night, cold and silent, like my heart at that moment. I had sacrificed everything for a family that didn't see me as a person. Now I would defend myself, with the one thing they could no longer use as a weapon, the truth. The first message came at 7:42 a.m. It was from Aunt Clara. "Sabrina, I know you're angry. Can we talk? Please don't turn this into a fight. Our family doesn't need this." The last sentence was almost a mantra they used all the time, "Our family doesn't need this." What they meant was, don't make a big deal out of it, don't demand justice, don't make others uncomfortable. I didn't reply. An hour later, Tessa sent a voice message. Her voice was shaky, and she sounded like she was crying. I didn't mean to. I just thought if someone was invested, it would be best for the whole family to benefit. "You're so good, I just wanted to continue what you started." "Continue?" "No." She snatched it away, calling it inspirational. That afternoon, another text message came in, this time from an unknown number. When I opened it, it was Judith, my cousin on Dad's side, someone I hadn't heard from in 4 years. I heard she was causing some trouble. "Aunt Clara is really tired. Tessa is devastated. Can you please not bring this to hell?" Hell. I kept quiet for years. I sent money. I sacrificed. I let them remove me from meals, thank you notes, public posts. And just when I started withholding the truth from myself, I became the bad guy. That night, as I was replying to my lawyer's email, my phone lit up. The call was from Tessa. I let it ring. Once. Twice. Then it stopped. Less than a minute later, a text message appeared. "Are you really going to destroy me? For a few data and some project files?" I didn't know whether to laugh or to vomit. Data. Project files. That was my whole life. The dream I had kept alive for years with my loneliness and my own money. 2 days later, the first post from Tessa appeared on social media. A picture of her sitting in a chair, her hands covering her face, with the caption, "When you try your best but still get misunderstood." I knew she was acting. Not giving me a name in the company. Not recognizing my efforts. But now painting a vulnerable victim story. And the comments started coming. People who didn't know the truth, saying, "Come on Tessa, don't let negative people extinguish your light. Families are toxic sometimes, but you can rise above it." Little did they know that Tessa's toxic family was me. I expected to be angry. I expected to scream. But strangely, I just felt empty, like my heart had been worn down to the core, and now all that was left was the will to survive. I put the phone down. And I understood. They weren't apologizing for hurting me. They were apologizing because I was sane enough to stop taking it. I hadn't intended to make it public. In fact, I had hoped that some part of them would be ashamed enough to stop. But Tessa's second post made me wait another minute. She took a screenshot of a text message, cut short, where I asked Camilla about legal recourse on the investment platform. In the caption, she wrote, "Feels like I'm being hunted down for dreaming big. Family isn't always safe." I read, my hands no longer shaking. My heart no longer aching. I just felt an absolute coldness, the kind you get when you lose all trust. I opened my computer and went to a folder called Proof Final. I had it ready. A presentation that included everything. My original plan, timestamped. Email forwards from Aunt Clara to Tessa. Document revision history. Receipts of previous investments I had supported. And a text message from Tessa asking me to handle last year's anonymous financial statements. I didn't say much. Just wrote a caption. "Prolonged silence is not consent. This is the truth." I posted it on LinkedIn and Twitter, two platforms I knew startups couldn't ignore. Less than 4 hours later, I received an email from a respected financial journalist. "We're doing a story about plagiarism in intimate relationships. Are you willing to speak up?" I agreed. In the interview, I didn't name names, I didn't insult anyone, I didn't expose my personal life. I simply recounted the development of an idea, and how it was erased as it passed through the hands of people I once called family. The story spread faster than I expected. The headline was, "When Intimacy Becomes a Shortcut to Success, Sabrina Hale and the Story of Stolen Silence." The reaction started from outsiders. But then family members began to reveal themselves. Aunt Clara sent a text. "What do you want? The media is all about sensationalism. You're destroying your family." And Tessa. She changed her profile picture to gray. Her company account was put on hidden for maintenance. Her old posts were deleted. And a few secondary accounts that I knew were her close friends started following me. I didn't reply to them. I didn't have to anymore. Because the only thing I wanted was, not victory. It was liberation. Liberation from the role of the older sister who always had to be nice. Freedom from the obligation to maintain the family honor. Freedom from the emotional trap of forgiveness without apology. Now I had spoken out. And for the first time, I wasn't being manipulated by other people's stories. I thought when it all came out, I would feel satisfaction, or at least a little gloating. But strangely, I just felt empty. Not the kind of empty that crushes you, but the kind you get when you finally remove the armor that has been on you for so long. I didn't argue anymore. I didn't respond to any posts. I had nothing left to prove. I booked a one-way ticket out of Chicago, to Oregon, a place I'd dreamed of but always put off because of family responsibilities. I rented a small cabin in the woods, with a wood stove, a balcony, and silence. I brought my laptop, a few books, and not a shred of anger. I didn't need their apologies. Because forgiveness was never my goal. Freedom was what I was looking for. Every morning, I made coffee in silence, listening to the leaves falling on the porch and the wind blowing through the window. No one called, no one asked, no one cried or accused. For the first time, no one touched the part of my life that I didn't want to share. I didn't lose them. They never really had me. And now, I'm back with the one thing they can't steal. Myself.